Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Slingy's Things. This time we're taking a look at the Godzilla 2000 from Hiya Toys. This is my very first Hiya Toys figure, and so when I review this, I'm just reviewing this figure without any comparison to any previous Hiya Toys that have been released. So with that out of the way, let's just take an overall look at this guy. So I got this one because this is one of my very, very favorite Godzilla designs, and I think they did a great job. I think he looks awesome. I think, for the most part, quite seamless, really. The scales look good. The texture's nice. These are very nice looking spikes. They're very pointy, so be careful with those. The tail is great and long. And I don't notice any paint issues with mine. Nothing noticeable, at least. And so, another thing I wanted to say is that this figure feels also super heavy and premium. I had no idea what to expect in terms of how heavy it would be. I don't know if these were like light figures or heavy, since I'm new to Hiya, but this is a very substantial figure. It feels like it's expensive, and it's not too expensive, really. It's size-wise, it's quite nice. He's standing pretty straight here, but he's about like, what do you say, about 7 inches tall, depending on how, straight you get him. Yeah, around 7 inches, I want to say. So he's a really good size, feels really solid, and he was only around 50 to 55 bucks. It's hard to beat that. And in terms of stuff like articulation, I think he's great. It's a lot. You get a lot of movement out of this Godzilla. His head moves really good up, and then his whole body comes down. He can really look side to side. I didn't have too many issues with it being too tight or too loose upon getting him. So I actually didn't need to heat anything up. Even though some parts, like this arm, was a bit tighter than this arm, nothing was heat up worthy. The mouth opens, the tongue kind of wiggles in there. I love that little detail. The arms open all the way wide and they bend. They go forward. See, this one's a little tighter, but not bad. It's awesome. The legs also can go out quite a bit, which I think is great, so you can get some really wide stances. The tail is just wonderful. No matter where you pose it, it holds that pose, and you can twist parts around. Just adds so much character and balance to this figure. In the back, the only thing that's it doesn't bother me, but I could see how it would bug someone, is you can see right here, when you move him forward, you get a big gap there where there's no spikes. So it can look strange depending on how you twist them, but I'm glad the articulation is there. So not too big of an issue. In fact, the one thing that I think bothers me the most, two things actually, is one is these knees I think are sort of ugly. It looks like he's got a knee on top of another knee. Is that how the suit looks? I'm not an exact expert on this, but it's a bit ugly. And so when you bend it, it like bends here. So I feel like I see what they were going for, but I don't think it adds a boatload of range. And it just looks sort of ugly. I'm assuming this is all supposed to be the calf and not the knee, but it gives them a double knee situation. A little ugly. And another complaint I have is these hands love coming off. If you want to just move them forward or back, like on the hinge, they just pop up. I don't know if this is an issue with just if this is a QC issue or a design issue. I've seen other people complain about this and some people who don't. To me, this looks sort of like it could be more leaning towards a design issue. You see how you can get over it. It's just, it really doesn't like to stay. I think it might be a combination of both things at play here. But it's not enough to really ruin my fun with this. So I apologize. I see things in the back over there. We're going to move that. This is not their review. But besides those things, everything else stays together really well. The joints on mine feel really solid. And I don't have many other complaints with this. For my first jump into Hiya Toys, I think I couldn't be happier. I love this Godzilla. He's a perfect Godzilla just to add to my collection. And if you're looking for a Godzilla 2000 or just a cool Godzilla that poses, this is, I think, the one. I don't think you can go wrong here. But I will do a quick size comparison. So I'd say this size is wonderful. It feels great to have in my hands. It honestly feels like it's bigger than 7 inches. A lot of that's due to just how hefty he is in the tail. But it's sort of funny. He'll of course look great scale wise, I'm sure, to other Hiya figures and other monsters. But when you compare him to things that are not from the same line, it starts to look a little silly. So, for example, here he is with a Jurassic World Hammond Collection Atrociraptor. He's a little bit bigger than that. Here he is next to Jada Toys Sagat. Uh-oh. Sagat's looking a little bit bigger here. And then here we have next to, I want to say, this is a Figma. It's about maybe 5.5 inches. So Godzilla's not looking too big here all of a sudden. In fact, to me, he almost looks, when you put him with like other like characters and franchises instead of monsters, kind of looks like it's a Godzilla cosplayer, which I don't mind actually. I think that's kind of funny. And then just for fun, when you put something like this near him, he suddenly doesn't look like the kaiju. We have the Hammond Collection Indominus Rex from Jurassic World, and you can see who the real kaiju is now. Sorry, Godzilla, I don't think it's you. Boop. But, again, that's not an issue. That's just a fun comparison to how he scales up to some toys that are not within the same line, because I don't have any to compare him with. But, again, I would definitely recommend this. This is, I think, an easy purchase. Get it while it's still there. I got mine from Big Bad Toy Store, but I know there's a lot of other places that will have this too. I think it's worth the money for sure if you want a nice Godzilla. So that's all I've got for now. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for some photos at the end. Thanks. Bye.